Hey, I'm Michael with Land Elevated, and in today's blog and video, we're going to be talking about how to find a suitable property. So in today's day and age, technology has had a huge impact on the way that we do things. And traditionally, there were only a couple of ways for you to buy or sell real estate, whether it was vacant land, a house, a condo, commercial building, didn't matter. The most common method was to engage a real estate agent to find the property for you or to list and sell your property. You could also find some properties for sale in the classified ads, and obviously you could list your property there as well. Or if you're old school like me, you go drive around in a neighborhood or area that you're interested in and you look for those for sale signs. Or better yet, go knock on the door and see if the seller's interested in selling you the property. Now all of those options are still very common today, but there are new opportunities in technology that have drastically changed the landscape. So now more than ever, buyers are starting to do a lot of their research online long before they reach out to a real estate agent or an industry professional or a seller. Some of these buyers are so sophisticated that they are purchasing their property sight unseen by using some of these different tools and resources that are available online. Now, there are a number of different platforms, marketplaces. They provide really great information with tons of options available. And we're going to take a quick look at some of those options and give you the pros and cons of each so that you can decide which one would be best for you. So number one, working with a real estate agent. Mentioned before, this is traditionally the way real estate transactions have been completed. And there's a lot of value in working with a real estate agent, especially if you are involved in a complex transaction and you don't have much experience in real estate in general. Real estate agents have been trained, they're licensed, and they're there to really guide you through the transaction from start to finish. Now, most agents have access to a service called the Multiple Listing Service, or the MLS, and the MLS has a database of all of these listings that have previously been listed or sold in your area. They also provide a lot of other market information, trends, statistics, general stuff, but the caveat here is that this information is not made available to the public. You actually have to be a licensed real estate agent or real estate professional, and you have to pay a subscription. So there are somewhere between 600 and 700 different MLS chapters throughout the US. So some agents have to subscribe to multiple MLS chapters to be able to get the coverage for all the areas that they work in. Now, another benefit with the MLS is that they can set up these automated searches so that when a new listing comes online or if a price is dropped and it's a property that fits your search criteria, you get an automatic notification. Or if you're looking to sell, the platform offers great exposure. All of the other real estate agents in the area typically use the MLS, and it's going to make sure that their clients get to see your property listing available for sale. Again, real estate agents will be able to draft your contract or help you review your contract. They'll walk you through all the terms and conditions of the agreement. And they can also accompany you to look at the property, provide their opinion of value, market trends, or any other things that you need to consider when you're buying or selling your property. Now, it's important to understand that real estate agents usually get paid by commission only. And while the commission is traditionally paid by the seller at closing, it's important to understand that it's really the buyer who's paying the commission because it comes out of the sales price. So buyers who are not working with an agent can often negotiate the sale price down because there's no commission to be paid by the seller, and the seller will still effectively net the same price. So with single family homes or residential real estate, a very common commission is 6%, and that's 3% to the listing agent, 3% to the buyer's agent. Now that can be split a whole bunch of different ways. It doesn't necessarily have to be 3%, but 6% is a good general rule of thumb with residential real estate. Now you might notice that as the price of a property goes up, the commission percentage will go down. And conversely, if the price of the property is lower, you might see a higher commission percentage requested by the agent. With vacant land under $25,000, we've seen real estate commissions as high as 15%, and that's just for the listing agent commission. So, in summary, a couple things to keep in mind if you're considering working with a real estate agent. Commissions, you should expect to pay a commission, and that's how agents get paid. Number 2, expertise. Not all agents are the same, so be very prudent in selecting the right agent for you. Make sure that they have experience, especially in the type of asset that you're looking to buy, and that they have good coverage in the area that you're looking at. Third is the marketing and exposure. Agents usually have access to an MLS or multiple MLSs, and they are there, they're paid to search for properties for you or to list your property and get the most effective marketing. So whether you're buying or selling, they can help make sure that you get good exposure to the marketplace. All right, next we're going to talk about classifieds. So Craigslist is really the most recognized and utilized online classified ad platform. You also have classifieds in your newspaper or penny savers. Those have kind of gone by the wayside with the revolution of the internet. But Craigslist has a ton of options, and usually they're for sale by owner options. Sometimes there's some real estate agents who also put their listings on there just to get some more exposure, but there are a lot of for sale by owner or private individual seller listings. Now, here you can find listings all over the United States. Craigslist has coverage all over the US, but unless you know what you're looking for or where you're looking specifically, it can be challenging to find the right property for you. And this may be more so relevant to vacant land. For example, if you live in Kansas City, Missouri, and you're interested in buying some land in the mountains in Colorado, you might have to actually search in multiple cities or areas within Craigslist to be able to find the right property for you. As an example, Craigslist has a marketplace for Denver, a marketplace for Fort Collins, another one for the High Rockies. And there's going to be listings for properties in all of those different Craigslist platforms or marketplaces, but it's a lot harder to identify exactly where those properties are located and if that's the location that you're specifically looking in. Their geographical areas can span hundreds of miles, so again, it makes it a little bit more challenging. Additionally, there's no licensing or authority regulating sales on Craigslist. Craigslist does a lot to try and eliminate scams and shady posts, but the platform is primarily regulated by the community. So there are a lot of companies, again, that post ads on Craigslist, but the majority of these listings are posted by owners, mom and pops, individual private sellers. And regardless if you're dealing with an individual or a company, make sure you do your due diligence, your research on the company or the seller, and make sure that they're trustworthy, credible, and they have some experience in selling you whatever type of property they're going to be listing and selling. We also have a guide with top 10 questions that you should ask when buying vacant land, so make sure to check that out. We'll include a link to that down below here. So in summary, a couple things to keep in mind if you're searching for a property on Craigslist or any classified ad platform. There's going to be listings from both private sellers and companies. And again, Craigslist is utilized by both of these parties, so you'll be able to get a lot of exposure. You'll see a lot of different types of listings from both licensed professionals and individual private sellers. But be sure to look out for the scams. Scams on Craigslist are rampant. Make sure you do your research on the other party and make sure you're not getting yourself into a bad situation. We will also include a link down below, some ways to avoid scams on Craigslist. And again, they put forward a lot of effort in trying to eliminate these guys, but they inevitably find their way in there from time to time. Last is the location challenges. Craigslist and other classifieds are mostly territory specific. They can cover a lot of area. They don't allow you to kind of focus in on a specific neighborhood or subdivision or area unless there are those keywords included in the listing itself. So it can be a little bit more challenging to find a property based on a specific geographical area. Okay, next we're going to talk about Google. Google and other search engines and some of these other platforms that have come out recently like Zillow, Redfin, and other marketplaces. You search for land in Google and you're likely to find one of many marketplaces online that show up at the top of your search. And then if you enter more keywords into your search, Google is smart enough to kind of recognize that and then produce the results more specifically based on whatever search criteria you've entered in. So if you're looking for vacant land in a particular area, the results are going to be very different than if you're looking for a residential house in a specific neighborhood or subdivision. So as far as marketplaces in the vacant land space, there are a few great options, including LandWatch, LandHub, Land and Farm, Land.com. Now note, these are marketplaces, and they have listings from many different individual sellers and owners. So outside of the marketplaces, you're likely to come across some companies or websites such as landcentral.com and of course landelevated.com. Hopefully we show up close to the top of your search bar so that you're not digging through pages to find us. But it's important to note that these sites differ from the marketplaces because they only have properties that are listed for sale that are owned by the company. So these companies, like us, Land Elevated, we take pride in working with our customers to ensure you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. But just like everything else, no two companies are the same. We recommend that you do your homework on the company, read reviews, testimonials, ask the tough questions. Make sure they know what they're talking about and make sure they're not just trying to sell you something that wouldn't be the best property for you. So, in summary, a couple of things to keep in mind if you're searching for a property on Google or any other search engine and you come across these listings in any of these other marketplaces. Number one, Google is smart. Their algorithms, they help you with your search and they'll be able to produce results based on exactly what you're looking for. Be as specific as you can in your keywords that you enter into the search bar. If you're looking for land in a specific neighborhood or subdivision, enter that into your search. You're more likely to get better results that way. Again, you'll see different marketplaces that will come up, but individual sellers that have their listings in those areas as well will be recognized by Google and they should show up in your results. Number two, you're going to get results back from marketplaces and private companies. There's going to be a lot of marketplaces returned in your search results. They have a ton of listings all over the United States, and they're going to have a lot of variety between individual sellers, companies. It'll run the whole gamut. So it'll give you some really good exposure, but again, make sure you do your homework, ask the tough questions. Okay, next we're going to jump down to for sale by owner, and this is really there is a marketplace for sale by owners, but a lot of these other marketplaces that offer exposure for licensed real estate professionals or companies are also opening up and allowing individual owners to list their properties for sales as well. Now, keep in mind, there are tens of thousands of property owners out there that are willing to sell their property, but they just haven't listed it for sale yet. And there are thousands of property owners who don't want to use a real estate agent. They'd rather list the property on their own and they want to avoid having to pay a commission. Now, this creates an opportunity, but it can also be a lot of work to source a good deal. This is how a lot of companies and real estate agents can really create their value by sourcing these opportunities that are hard to find or present specific challenges and they're not that easy to resolve. It can also often require very skilled expertise and experience to navigate through the title and closing process or some of these other challenges that come up. So for sale by owner deals, they are complicated. They can have a lot of legal consequences. Sorry, they're not always complicated, but they can be complicated. There can be legal consequences if something isn't done correctly. So make sure that if you don't have expertise or experience in this area, that you are seeking some guidance. It doesn't necessarily have to be from a licensed real estate agent, but an industry professional, somebody who knows what they're doing and they can help walk you through the issues. So some of the more common marketplaces, again, like Zillow and Redfin, they have options for property owners to list their property on their own without a real estate agent. Craigslist, other classified ads, what we just talked about, they have a lot of other for sale by owner listings. And there are a lot of other options out there. So again, I'm just urging you, make sure you do your homework, ask the tough questions, don't get yourself in a bad deal. So in summary, a couple things to keep in mind if you're going the for sale by owner route. Commissions, you might be able to negotiate a better deal or a lower price because there are no commissions to be paid, and that's whether you're a buyer or a seller. However, the experience and expertise is required. If you don't have the experience or expertise, proceed with caution. Real estate deals can be incredibly complex. Without proper guidance, you may get yourself into trouble fast. Last, for sale by owners can be great deals, but they usually require a lot of work. Because of the amount of work or the level of expertise required, that is not how most real estate transactions take place. So, as you continue your research, remember that you have a number of options, tools, resources available depending on your experience, the amount of time that you want to invest in finding the perfect property for you. Make sure you have fun and good luck.